Hugh Hefner, a true American icon, created an empire that was unrivaled.
Although some of us bunnies may have gone rogue, it's because of the love and respect that we received from the man behind it all.
Because after all, we did learn from the best.
Relive the stories from the most prominent celebrity home in history.
What happens in the grotto stays in the grotto.
From those of us that lived it,
the employees that worked it,
and the guests who loved it.
And
the mayhem continues.
We are back, part 2. Liz Stewart here in studio with us. Rogue Bunnies Mayhem. I know you're biting at the bit. You have a question there, Victoria?
Yeah. So, when we became bunnies, we were already playmates, and they brought the bunny costume back. So there was a training manual that we received, and there was lots of rules. What kind of training did you guys have when you became a bunny in the club?
It was very extensive. You went through, I think, a 2-month training period where...
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. I mean, you had to learn how to serve wearing heels. So that is a process in itself, to carry the tray, to carry your cocktails, and I'm wearing 3-inch heels and an itsy bitsy corset. So it took time to learn that. One of the main things I learned is once your feet swell up, don't ever take your shoes off. Don't do it.
Never. That is so true.
Yeah, don't go there. We had to learn the entire menu and how each dish was made and the ingredients, which is probably still a common thing at restaurants. And we had to learn all the cocktails too and how they were made.
And the bunny dip, right? You had to learn how to do the bunny dip.
Thanks,
perfectly.
Jen. That's a huge piece to mention. The bunny dip, the famous, you never bent over forward. No.
Yeah, you were never allowed to bend forward, so your cleavage wasn't in someone's face.
Yes.
So when you're handing them a drink, it was kind of like a side, right?
It was a side or a back.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
it was a back arch. And so
I love that. Arch
this
your
would
back.
be my customer, and I would serve like here.
Yeah.
So you can look at my butt and maybe a glimpse.
And that's not easy to do. I had to learn how to do it because I played a bunny in Mad Men. They made a Playboy club, and I was in that scene. So in the audition for that, we all had to learn the bunny dip and go in and do that for the casting people. And it was nerve-wracking.
And you have to do it gracefully. So it's not don't just twist at the waist and put it down. I mean,
right.
It's a graceful, sexy movement. It's smooth.
Now, from what I'm told, Keith Hefner, the boss's brother, he was very involved at the club, right? Isn't he the one that came up with the idea of the costume? Am I wrong?
He helped create it. Him and his girlfriend at the time, she's the one that did the original costume, but he had a big part in designing the look.
And he had a very, very huge part in the training of the bunnies and the creation of the bunny dip. I miss him.
And did Hef ever come into the club? And did you wait on him ever?
I don't think I waited on him. He did come into the club every now and then, and it was a huge brouhaha. All the girls. He was so kind. He was so funny and generous. It's really fun that I would see him come in. And then after I had gone through the process of secretly trying out for Playmate and then getting notified, yes, you're going to be a Playmate, he did my announcement at the Playboy Club. That was awesome. I have pictures of him.
Cool.
It was awesome coming up on stage to congratulate me on becoming part of the family. And the room was filled with bunnies and Playmates.
Wow.
I was overwhelmed with I can't even tell you what I felt. It was exciting. Mostly, I think I was overwhelmed with gratitude and disbelief that this was real and happening to me. And look at all these beautiful women out here in front of me cheering for me.
See, I think that's probably different too. I mean, I know some people put on the airs for say a beauty pageant and everyone's all happy for them. Secretly deep down, they're like, you fucking bitch. But with the Playmates, it's so cool that you ladies are literally like a sisterhood.
We are.
You're like, welcome to the club. I just think that's neat.
We are. And there is a bunny sisterhood that I'm so lucky to be a part of. And then when I became a Playmate, I joined the Playmate sisterhood. To this day, even though I don't work for Playboy anymore, it's such a huge part of my life. It still is.
Well, we got to witness, like we were saying in part 1, about how you helped throw that surprise party for Pat Lacey, Bunny Mom. You know, the ladies that showed up there, right? I mean, Victoria, that was pretty cool. I was giddy. Cool. I was kind of giddy out. Like, what? I want to hear the stories and everyone talking about, you know, either being the club days or being the Playmate or, you know, it's just.
Yeah, that was the thing that I managed to pull together. It's like, yes, I'm pulling the Bunnies together and I'm pulling the Playmates together, and Bunnies and Playmates didn't necessarily know each other at that day, but now we're, you know, it's a grown sisterhood and we're all friends. We all love Lacey.
I have a question about the club. I heard that when you entered the club, you gave your card or your key, and there was some sort of thing where your name would light up to say who's in the club. Did they do that for the Century City Club?
I don't remember that. We had what we call door bunnies, and the door bunnies were our greeters. We had a small lobby with a couple seats and Playboy paraphernalia that was sold. And the door bunnies were there to greet you. Hopefully they knew you and they would call you by name. Hi, Brian. So great to see you. Welcome back.
Oh, my God, Liz. Thank you. Oh, man. I couldn't wait to get out for a lunch break.
There you go. And then you would, you know, move on to the front desk, and you were greeted usually by Lacey, and she knew everyone by name.
That's a talent.
Wonderful thing.
That's a talent.
And
that's a gift.
Say, you know, would you like to sit with Liz today? If she knew that I happened to be your favorite bunny, you know, or would you like to sit with Sandy today? She knew what they liked. Are you having your usual drink? And she would get everything. It was just like, you know, the customers were very, very special people. And I think that's what kept all those gentlemen coming back.
You know, there had to have been, we talked about like the training, but I think that the real talent comes as you start developing within your own self how to communicate, how to talk with people. I mean, that there's so many people that don't know how to do that. I see a world today that doesn't communicate. They're so stuck on their phone.
Yeah.
And they're so used to putting their little posts or be a troll or throw their little negative comments out there. But when it comes to one-on-one, they don't know how to talk anymore.
You know, on that note, this is a good story that just came to mind. When I first started at Playboy Club, I remember maybe my first day of actually wearing a costume. I walked into the dressing room and I was serving lunch. So we'd come in early, maybe 9. No makeup. You'd come in and get yourself ready there. So I walk into the dressing room and it's full of beautiful naked women. And I'm like, oh boy, they're all naked. So this is what they did. They'd come in, take their clothes off. We each had our locker, and then just naked. Let's get to the mirror and get our stuff. I was horrified because I was so shy. And so I think the first couple months, I might have maybe worn my bra and underwear at the mirror. I was the only one with bra and underwear at the mirror. Everybody else was naked doing their thing. Nobody cared. That's how we learned about just transitioning from, okay, here's Street Liz. Now we come in and we all learn from each other. Hair, makeup, fashion styles, shoes. This is how I became a young lady, was in that dressing room. It's crazy.
You know, speaking of fashion styles, we're going to take a quick break. I want to talk about you. You got to live the transition from the bush to no bush. We'll be right back. You are listening to Rogue Bunnies Mayhem.
Hi, it's Victoria Fuller, founder and lead artist of Rogue Bunnies, and more importantly, Miss January 1996. You should all know the story by now. Me and my 100 bunny sisters have gone rogue. What you need to do is visit roguebunnies.com. By purchasing your Rogue Bunnies NFTs, you can be part of our Discord community, which gets you early access to Rogue Bunnies series drops, special promotions, exciting IRL events, our famous poker nights, and so much more. All you have to do is visit roguebunnies.com. That's ROGUEBUNNIES.com. Let's explore the future together.
Welcome to the metaverse.
All right, so right before we went to break, I couldn't help it. I mean, you literally got to see from, you know, the transition of fashion style of the reforming of the pubic area.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's really funny is that when you became a bunny, the crotch was very, very narrow. So you really had to shave your side pubic just to
Oh yeah, on the bunny costume, yes, right.
just to wear the costume without having pubic hair exposed. God forbid. So that's when I started shaving, when I became a bunny. Later at Playmate, it was like, well, they're not even doing the bunny V. There's nothing.
Well, it went to a landing strip, right, ladies?
It went to a landing
Wasn't there
strip.
a landing strip.
We did the landing strip for a while. That was my magazine. I was still wearing the bunny costume V.
Gotcha.
As far as my privates, I had the bunny, and I thought that was risque because everybody was still full pubes, and I showed up with like this V because I was a club costume wearer. And then it went to the landing strip. That was the 90s. I remember that.
that was me. Maren Glabowski told me that I was the first Playmate to don the landing strip.
Hey, bravo!
That is so cool. That is so cool. And then after that, it was just like bald eagle. I don't know when that happened.
Well, you guys have seen the joke, right? The 70s was like Bush, and then later on in the 80s and 90s, there was more of a landing strip. And then when you get in the 2000s, it was bald. And then you get to 2020 penis.
That's great.
Sad but true.
Sad but true. That's good.
I love that. It's so funny.
I always thought it was funny when they started going completely shaved. You remember the old term?
there's a whole year.
Well, no, the whole term. Like, remember, does the what does it do? The drapes match the carpet?
The curtains
and I'm like,
match the drapes.
yeah, that's it, Jen.
I don't remember that.
But there's no more carpet.
Oh, the carpets. The carpet.
I just got it too. I was late.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's so weird. And then it kind of came back, like hair started to come back. But yeah, it was like month after month after month. I was like, what is going on with this look? Because that was when I was shooting my centerfold, I had very little hair, and they were the redhead. Anyways, she did all the Pam Anderson, Alexis Vogel. She said, listen,
Alexis, yes.
Marilyn Gabowski might be upset about this. We might have to glue hair on you. We've done this before. We might have to do
glue hair.
No.
Yeah, glue hair on.
No.
Like, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I was so upset. I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Hair from where? Like, where do they get the hair from? Like, what hair are they gluing?
Men's mustache. I don't know. I was mortified.
Oh God.
Trying to grow it out as much as possible.
I feel so uncomfortable right now.
I just love it, Jen, just going, no.
I don't like it.
No, it's not.
So what ultimately happened? Did they let you?
That's why I was the first with the landing strip. She just kind of like, Marilyn was like, okay, we're going to do this. You don't worry about it. You're just as is. You're going to I was like so relieved.
That was Marilyn.
That
was Marilyn.
It was so fun. Did you work with Alexis Vogel, by the way? Rest in peace, Alexis Vogel. She was so amazing.
I met her a couple times at Playboy Studio West. I never had the chance to work with her. She's infamous for her work.
She was incredible.
Yeah.
Her father worked at Penthouse, and she started makeup there early on and then transferred over to Playboy, if I have the story right. But she was the one that created the whole Pam Anderson look, that whole, like with the lashes and the whole thing. I mean, that was what she created. She was phenomenal makeup artist. She really transformed a lot of the girls into that whole thing.
See, I wish I would have known this, because I remember Alexis coming up to the mansion when the boss would do a lot of the interviews. We had Peggy would come and she would help do like the hair and stuff, but Alexis was always there. And she would be there, and I'm like, I'd greet her in, you know what I mean? They'd get everything all set up for the interviews. But dang, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty. And she came out with her own makeup line and all this other stuff. And I worked for her doing that. I was one of the models and for her. And then I don't ever know what happened to that. But she was incredible. And she was the one that found me actually on a shoot. She was the makeup artist, and she was like, you should work for Playboy. You should be a Playmate. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So she fast tracked me. She got me in front of Marilyn. She took Polaroids, and then Marilyn called me like literally the next day. She found many of Playmates, actually. She was a great scout for Playboy.
Wow.
Because she could see that she could transition some of these girls into being just kind of like, this into the glam thing. You know what I mean? She really had a good eye for all that. I loved her so much.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't work with her, because she was so there in the 90s, but
I was not at the studio until 2004. And in the 90s, I was married.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, I was kind of doing the married life with
Okay.
raising kids. But every photographer that I've worked with, at Playboy photographer, they all knew her. They all worked with her and loved her.
So the mansion.
Oh, God.
Mansion parties.
Oh, God.
Did you ever get to stay at the bunny house?
No.
No?
I was a little scare. What situation I might find myself in. No, I didn't. I was always in LA.
I mean, Jen has great stories. Victoria has great stories of the bunny houses.
I didn't. I did watch, what was that? The Bunny House television program with Holly and
Are you talking about Girls Next Door?
Girls Next Door, but there was another one too.
Oh, yeah.
The one we tried to spin off of the Bunny House, which was
I did watch all of those, so I did get to see what went on. No, I never got to experience that. I never stayed at the mansion. I was in LA, so I was always just arriving. I was always told, "Oh, that's for girls that are from out of town." So, but the parties to this day are the best parties I've ever been to in my life. I don't think there'll ever be a greater party than the Playboy Mansion, whether it was Midsummer Night's Dream, whether it was New Year's Eve. There's never going to be a better party than that. I said it.
Dang.
I said it. And you said earlier your birthday is July 3rd, so you always had like the most epic birthday parties.
Well, first of all, having a birthday on July 3rd means that it's a holiday and it's an extended birthday. I get to party on the 4th and I take the whole week. But I was always at the mansion 4th of July and we'd come early. We bring our swimsuits and our shorts and our t-shirts and then maybe we'd change into a cute little dress, in the afternoon for cocktails and dinner. And then we'd sit down with Hef on the lawn and watch the fireworks.
Amazing, right?
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing. This can never be done again.
Did you ever do the water slide? The big one that Holly had created for that
on the
hill?
lawn? The one on the lawn?
On the sloping lawn on the side, yeah.
I might have a photo of that. I had really short pixie hair at the time. And I went down belly head first. Woo! Everything came on.
No.
I had to put it all together before I got up again.
Well, if you remember, we had you guys were just doing the slip and slides at first. It was like we just had the.
Oh yeah, we had the original slip and slides, and then eventually Hank went and had one made, which actually had a pool at the end, which was great.
Yeah,
but then we had the episode with Marston where he did talk about how he and his friends would get together and they'd go steal the baby oil, and then remember oil up the whole slide, and so that's why you ladies were flying.
All directions.
Our hair, we would be so nappy afterwards. Our hair, our everything
greasy,
gross, grass.
It was
to us
so
and
much fun,
So,
But what a great party. I mean, seriously, 4th of July. And what I always thought was so cool is that the boss really, he loved this country. He was, a big fighter for, First Amendment rights, obviously. But what I loved is the fireworks show. Yeah. It was like a whole history of how this country came together. Remember, they'd have the commentator. It was like a Disneyland commentator. Right. And then they'd have all the fireworks all set up and telling you the story. And I thought that was neat because the whole party seemed like he's just celebrating, which we should be celebrating, freedom. Look at what we have. I mean, hamburgers and hot dogs and pool party and volleyball.
Yeah, it was
fireworks.
Very American. It was so American.
But it was so well produced that when they did the story, the narration that would go with the fireworks and everything, it would almost make me tear up because it was so it was just that well done. I'd always be like, this is the greatest country ever. You know what I mean? It was always and his property, he's the only one in the whole whatever, he had some sort of a license to be able to do that. And the fire department would come out and help. There was a team that came and set them up. They were professional fireworks. They weren't just these ones you buy out of a truck. They were like the ones that the city would use. They were like the real deal. And the fire department, of course, would come and they would be there all day and all night, which they probably love that, and helping set up and making everything was to code. But I don't know the license that he had that he was able to do that. But I was told that license it goes with the property. So I don't know if the new owner still has that.
No, it's gone. That was with the boss. and that's
Oh,
gone. No one
okay.
can ever do that again.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like you were
Right.
saying,
Yeah, that
we're the
was-
professional fireworks that you would see in the
Mhm.
sky,
Yes.
which were
Yeah.
now no more than 10 feet in front of you. I mean, that's what was
Yeah.
nuts. I remember the one, and luckily we did have the fire department always on because there was that one, remember that little tree right when you go into the deep end?
Yeah.
Caught fire.
Caught on fire. Caught on fire. And then there would be a couple ducks or like birds. They would always put all the birds away, but then there was always other birds that weren't part of the mansion that would ducks and stuff that would come in and they would. There was a couple times the ducks were like trying to get away from the fireworks. But it was exciting. The bush lighting on fire was a highlight.
That was awesome.
Like,
I remember driving home from those parties elated and feeling super patriotic. I remember
Yeah.
that feeling every time I left the 4th of July party and, after the fireworks. I felt so patriotic. I felt like, wow, this is just an amazing country. And that was an amazing party. And thank you, Hef.
I hope that we can get back there. I'm not doing a political rant at all. Absolutely not. But I think no matter where you are, it was so cool. I was talking to a friend earlier and saying, remember the days when you could have your political opinion, but you were still friends?
Right.
And because we all are part of this great country,
Right.
you know what I mean? And not, oh, well, that flag is offensive to me. What do you mean offensive?
Yeah.
We're all living together in this great country. And that's what I thought was so cool is when the boss did put those parties together, he was celebrating that because honestly, you couldn't do what he did in any other country.
No.
It's impossible. It's this
Yeah.
great country that why Playboy was able to be what it was.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
on the
But
same
parties,
page.
I'm telling you, I agree with you. And, I know Victoria wants to get the parties going again. We had the Mansion 2.0 party in Vegas. That was fun.
Yes.
But I agree there was a time and a place, and those parties probably can't be redone.
Oh,
They
No.
can't be redone. They were a special time.
Yeah.
But how do we move forward? 'Cause we still want to get together. We all still want to hang out.
Victoria, just tell me what to do. I'll help you. We'll do a spin-off.
Yes,
I don't know.
we're working on it. Rogue Bunnies is working on it. Yes, we aspire to be Vegas and have parties going on in Vegas. Vegas is the place to be. So hopefully we'll be there soon enough. But you don't worry, you'll know about it.
Good. I'm in.
You're invited.
I'm all in.
You're invited.
I'm all in. I'll help you. I'll do work. You just let me know.
Yes, yes.
So you'd said earlier that Playboy, really, I mean, it transformed your life.
It transformed my life. And I am still holding to that statement to this day. It transformed my life. I was a quiet, shy, introverted young lady. And then I was introduced to all of these amazing women. It's the women that I became friends with, the women that accepted me and took me in, starting with Pat Lacey, all of my bunnies, all of my playmates. And then I became more emboldened to, wow, my friends are so beautiful. They're so sweet. They're so kind. I want to be like these women that are accepting me. And so, yes, I grew up in Playboy. Thank goodness that that's the way I grew up.
I love that so much.
Who would have known?
All right. So I have a question. I like to ask this question a lot, but you get a different answer from everyone that you ask it. What would you say to Hef if you had a chance to sit down one-on-one with him right now?
God, that would be amazing. I would sit close to him. I would hold his hands. I would hold his cheeks. I would thank him. He probably didn't know how much he changed my life. And I would tell him completely, you changed my life for the better, Hef. You did. And I am forever grateful. And I love you. And I miss you so much. That's what I would say. One thing that we haven't touched on, and I don't know that there's time, is after working under Hef creatively, I got to work with his son, with Cooper Hefner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Well, you have to give us something. Tell us. How was that?
Yeah.
I remember being at the Playboy offices. We were now in Beverly Hills. I was at my desk and I remember seeing Cooper walk in. He was I guess, talking to the heads at the office about coming back or coming into the office to be part of the magazine team. And my jaw dropped because he was the epitome of hef. The epitome. I stared.
Yeah.
I followed. I couldn't stop. And I knew that I need to get a grip here because I'm making a scene. But he was the visual epitome of hef. That was shocking. And then when I started working with him, he was just as tough as Dad in the sense of detail. He must have learned that from hef. And he was really, really proud of that. And he studied video and entertainment and producing. And then he brought that to Playboy. I think maybe it was around 2017 when Playboy magazine was making huge turns. We were no longer going to be a paper magazine. We were only going to be online. Yeah. The look of the Playmate, if you ladies recall, the look of the Playmate completely went from Girl Next Door to the model. Tall, thin European models for a number of months. Anyway, Cooper taught me how to create a show, how to produce, how to cast, how to write.
That kid's talented, man.
He took me like from the hef level that I was at, which was mostly art and production design. Cooper took me into the real world of being an executive producer. Thanks, Cooper.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much. And he trusted me, and he loved me, and he was kind to me. And he always said, Liz, you're part of the family. That's just a wonderful, wonderful time that I wrapped up my career under Cooper Hefner.
And I think that's a perfect way to wrap.
Thanks.
2 love letters to the boss,
to the boss and
to
the
his
son.
Liz, thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you.
We got to do this again. We just got to go out and hang out.
Yeah.
Let's do that again.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Olea.
I'm Victoria Fuller.
Jennifer Pershing.
And the Mayhem continues.